Arizona, land of sun and cactus. It's still the Wild West of this sun-fishing bronc, but baseball is our story, and Scottsdale, Arizona is where it begins each spring. The colorful western town honors some of the former greats of baseball during spring training. There's Pee Wee Reese of the Dodgers, the immortal Ty Cobb. Dizzy Dean is still the fun-loving and storytelling guy he used to be when he was a 30-game winner with the Cardinals. And here are two of the greatest players the game has ever known, Ty Cobb and Ted Williams. Spring training in sun-drenched Arizona is a time to get ready for the regular season. The established players are getting in top physical shape, while the rookies pick up some new tricks. Pitching coach Sal Magley is working here with young Tracy Stallard. Snap that wrist for the curveball, and Sal Magley had one of the best. And there are young catchers Don Gigli on the left and Jim Pagliarone on the right, working on the inside skills behind the plate, learning how to block that low outside pitch. Giving signs to the pitcher is all important. Ted Williams is imparting some batting hints to Lou Clinton and Carl Yastrzemski. Ted has always preached to be quick with the hands. They're the secret of snapping a bat around. Get good plate coverage, and then unlock that front hip and follow through. If anyone should know, it's Ted. Here's Lou Clinton working on his fielding, also learning how to charge ground balls to keep those runners from moving up. With spring training over, the Red Sox head east for the opening of the regular season. April in the nation's capital, Washington, with its Lincoln Memorial. And President Eisenhower on hand to add luster to the always colorful and traditional opening date. There's Senator Saltonstall, the American League President Joe Cronin. And now Ike officially opens the 1960 baseball season. Emilio Pasquale was pitching for the Senators, and he was red hot on this afternoon as he set an all-time Senator strikeout record. But Ted Williams was to provide the nation with its biggest thrill. The crowd wanted to see Ted hit one. And he did, one of the longest blows of all time at Griffith Stadium. It's 438 feet to deep center. The ball left the park high above the center field wall. This was the first of the 1960 homers that started Ted toward his goal of becoming the fourth man to hit 500 homers in a career. And now we're homeward bound, and Boston is awaiting its opening game of the season. The fans have been anxious all winter long to see some of their favorites again, such as Ted Williams. Frank Malzone, one of the premier third basemen in the game. All-star Pete Runnels. Slugging first baseman Vic Wertz. And first base coach Rudy York. Mayor John Collins has the honor of throwing out the first ball. Casey Stengel is an obvious admirer. This opening game starts the parade of teams, stars, thrills, and rhubarbs that New England fans watch through the season. Now let's take a look now at some of the highlights. Tom Brewer pitching. Roger Maris drag bunting. Now, if you don't think that was close, watch it in slow motion. I'd say that was a dead heat. How about you? Pete Runnels comes to bat for the Red Sox. Ted Williams on deck. Bob Turley is pitching for the Yankees. Big leaguers can make mistakes, too. Watch Hector Lopez play this fly ball. And there goes Runnels in the second. Now up comes Ted Williams. He always creates excitement when he digs in at home plate. He's got a rabid young rooter there. Bob Turley wants to be careful in this spot. Ted didn't use the left field wall too much in his career, but here's once when it did come in handy. Another run batted in for Williams. He finished sixth among all the players in baseball history in driving runs across the plate. Let's take a look now at a more typical Williams hit. Watch him get his body behind that swing as he pulls the ball toward right field. He knows it's gone. Ted hit 521 home runs in his career, and 248 of them came at Fenway Park. Frank Malzone proves how going all out on every step can pay off in baseball. Just that extra second or two means the difference between out or a man reaching base. Now you be the umpire and call the next play. Is it fair or foul? The umpires do not have the advantage of slow motion, but here's your second chance. Rudy York directs the traffic at first base. The batter is Pete Runnels, who starts one of the most controversial plays of the season. There's the Detroit shortstop, Chico Fernandez. And he's going to the plate in a try for Don Budden, who had been on third base. The Tiger catcher, Red Wilson, appears to have Budden in a cinch rundown. But somehow, Budden escapes the trap and is home free. The Tigers are claiming that Budden ran out of the baseline and should be automatically out. Naturally, Mr. Wilson is not too happy about the results. You're out of there. The Tigers not only lost the argument, but their catcher as well. And then in the middle of the season, the top players take time out for the All-Star game. The first of two was played in Kansas City. Senor L. Lopez is the skipper of the American League. The best players in the sport get together on one field. Here's Ernie Banks, the slugging shortstop of the Cubs. We were telecasting the game and had a chance to visit with Del Crandall of the Braves. Here's the American League's most valuable player, Roger Maris. And the home run leader of the American League, Mickey Mantle. Three old-timers, Musial, Wynn, and Williams, provided the fans thrills for the last 20 years. Pete Runnels and Malzone are in the American League starting lineup. Boston's Bill Monbouquette is the starting pitcher for the American League. The American League held a 16-11 edge going into this 28th All-Star game. Old Glory was waving in near 100-degree temperature as the Kansas City fans sweltered and applauded. Willie Mays gets one of his 3 hits. Frank Malzone gave it the big try, but Mays is on. Baltimore's Chuck Estrada is pitching to the Cubs' Ernie Banks. Notice the seemingly effortless swing that has made the slender Banks one of baseball's most dangerous sluggers. This one's a double off the left field screen. Bill Mazeroski, later to be a World Series hero, brings Banks home with a single. The Braves' Del Crandall batted. Now let's watch an unusual play. Frank Malzone throws toward second baseman Pete Runnels for an attempted force-out. But the throw hits a surprised umpire, Nestor Shylock, right in the stomach. In the 8th inning, Bob Buell's on the mound for the National League. He's pitching to Al Kaline, Detroit's fine young outfielder. Kaline likes the looks of that one, and look where it goes. Out in a Sam's parking lot. Kaline follows his former teammate Harvey Keene across the plate for the All-Star Game's final run. The National League was the winner, 5-3. Now the All-Star cast and its show takes to the air for the second game played 2 days later in New York. Historic Yankee Stadium, a fitting stage for the many stars. A courageous Roy Campanella, who is one of the brightest stars of his day with the Dodgers, talks baseball with Joe McKinney of the American League office. Here's a close-up look at Willie Mays, the outstanding player of the 2 games. And the Braves' veteran young slugger, Hank Aaron. Ted Williams receives the honor of being introduced last and strains the applause meter. Now the game is underway, and the Yankees' Whitey Ford is pitching to Willie Mays, who wraps out one of the 6 hits he gathered in the 2 1960 All-Star games. Mays moved on to second. Say hey, says Willie. Safe, says umpire Hank Soar, as Mays steals third. But Willie runs into trouble when Joe Adcock strikes out. Berra pegs to Malzone. Back to Berra. You're out, as Malzone applies the tag. Here's one of baseball's top young sluggers who started his career in Boston, the Braves' Eddie Matthews. And he likes that short right field pitch at Yankee Stadium. It's Matthews' second home run in All-Star competition. Coming up now is one of the best fielding plays of the All-Star game. Ernie Banks hits a slow roller down third base way. Frank Malzone makes one of his patented bare-hand pickups. He didn't get the runner, but the fans at Yankee Stadium admired Malzone's fielding skill on that play. Still spry Stan Musial is coming up to pinch hit. And there she goes. Number 6. It's a record-breaking 6th All-Star Game home run. Stan Musial and Ted Williams on the same field together. What a pair they have been in baseball. That's all for another year. In 1961, one of the 2 All-Star games will be played in Fenway. And now the players return to their respective pennant races for the second half of the season. And so do the fans. A manager returns too. Mike Higgins is back with the Red Sox. More highlights unfold. Ike DeLotte pitching for the Red Sox. A line drive hitter, Jerry Lumpy, lines one to deep right center. One of baseball's most exciting plays is developing as ball and runner head toward the plate. Russ Nixon puts on the tag, and the runner loses. Russ Nixon, who did some good hitting in a Red Sox uniform, does some good running on this play. Willie Tasby nets an important home run up in the left field screen for the Red Sox. It's always good to see the homeboys cross the plate. Throughout the season, the Red Sox have special and colorful days at Fenway Park as they salute their neighboring New England states. A favorite sight at Fenway is the bullpen brigade heading for its battle station. And here's the pitcher's eye view of the opposition. This is literally knocking a pitcher out of the box. Watch this rally killer by Pete Reynolds. There's a play for you by a second baseman. Baseball players like to take that pause that refreshes, too. Bill Monbouquette goes for an ice-cold Coke in the Red Sox clubhouse. Like the other ball players and millions of Americans, Mambo likes the matchless taste and tingle that only a Coke can give. In just 2 years out of the minor leagues, the young man from Medford has developed into one of the best right-handers in the league. But like any other pitcher, Monbouquette knows you have to have support behind you. And here's some real help from Frank Malzone. Watch Chicago Jim Landis knock Boston for a loop. Boy, is that adding insult to injury. Here's the White Sox second base combination of Aparicio and Fox. There's one out. Whoops! You didn't get him, says the umpire. Fox is arguing that he dropped the ball on his attempt to throw to first base after he got the force at second. The umpire correctly ruled that he did not have complete possession of the ball when he was trying for the force play. One of the exciting young stars who showed at Fenway Park for the first time in 1960 was lanky shortstop Ron Hansen of the Orioles. This was about the only way to get a ball by him. Watch this beautiful slide by Hansen. His fielding, long ball hitting, and base running earned him Rookie of the Year honors for the American League. Look at that Australian crawl. Young Gary Geiger was on his way to a top season until shelved with a lung ailment. Gary's completely recovered and is looking forward to stardom. Fund and baseball have developed into a potent team for the fight against cancer. Ted Williams, in his last year of active baseball playing, worked all the harder to lead the drive in urging everyone to help the boys and girls sick with cancer. On a special Jimmy Fund Day in September 1960 at Fenway Park, thousands turned out, including Cardinal Richard Cushing, who's been one of the Jimmy Fund's strongest supporters. And so is big brother Bob Emery, who's helping a small fry draw the winning entry to see who would win the historic ball and bat that were involved in Williams' 500th home run. And then a few days later, another ceremony was held. Ted Williams said goodbye to the fans in his last home game as a player. Ted Williams has been a champion, a standout in his profession, an all-time great who got that way because he had unquenchable pride, burning pride that caused him to work harder to better himself all through his career. On his last time at bat of his career, he belted a mighty home run and then retired. It was fitting of the many dramatic moments he provided for better than 20 years in New England.
And they remain standing here for the most part at Fenway Park as Williams hits probably for the last time in a Boston uniform in this ballpark.
There's a drive to deep right center. This may be gone. Brad way back there watching. Home run, Ted Williams.
Baseball genius with a bat, colorful, controversial, who always created an air of excitement on or off the field. That was the Red Sox own Ted Williams. But the game moves on. Old stars fade and new ones arrive, carrying Red Sox hopes for the future. Such stars as Monbouquette, outfielder Gary Geiger, American League batting champ Pete Runnels, standout third baseman Frank Malzone, and slugging Jackie Jensen making his baseball comeback. Good luck and good baseball.